Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. Again, it's Brother Shelton with Ministries of Righteousness, here to bring a message of truth, and it is God who has put it in my spirit to deliver this message. I hope all has been well. I pray that all has been well with each and every one of you. Since the last time I was on here, I'm constantly evolving as I discover the truth that much of it has been hidden, kept away from most of us, but it is now coming out as I continuously discover it and continuously use this platform to bring light into this darkness that we live in. I will continue to allow the Spirit of God to use me in that way. Last time I was here, I gave an overview about how the whole world is being operated under witchcraft, how that is being used to control humanity. Today, we're going to continue along those lines, and we're going to get into a little more depth as we go into individual topics as it relates to the witchcraft that is constantly being performed against all of us in the current world we live in. With that being said, last time I gave you all the true definition of witchcraft, which is anything or any method that a person or entity will use as a means to control, manipulate, intimidate, and dominate its subject or subjects to do whatever it is it wants its subjects to do, so that that person or entity benefits solely. That is the true definition of witchcraft. Most of us, when we hear the word or the term witchcraft, we look at it from the standpoint of people like mediums, psychics, people that contact what they call evil spirits or the evil dead, and use things that they call like voodoo and things like that to conjure spells. That's the most perceived meaning that most of us believe is witchcraft. That's a form of it, but as I just stated, what witchcraft really is, that is the truest definition of witchcraft. Some of the witchcrafts we talked about briefly last time was the witchcraft of religion, the witchcraft of government, the witchcraft of politics, the witchcraft of medicine, the witchcraft of media, and other forms of witchcraft. Today, we're going to get into detail about the witchcraft of politics. Here in America, we just had a recent election known as the midterm election in this country. And even now, there's still some elections going on of what they call a runoff to actually get whatever person that is elected in office, because on the regular election, it was too close to determine. So they're doing what they call runoffs. The definition of insanity basically is this: if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, and somehow, some way, you expect to get a different result, that is the truest definition of insanity. That's crazy. Politics or the political system that is in place to so-called govern this government in America and even other countries that claim to be a democracy is a insane system. The reason why we never get change that is well needed is because it's the same system and it's the same methods that's done over and over again. Every 2 years, you got to vote. And rather than voting on issues that directly affect us all, for example, imagine if the people can actually vote on the amount of taxes that they have to pay. Interesting, huh? We probably wouldn't be paying as much in taxes as we allow this insane government to take from us, and then take the money that they take from us in taxes and use it for things that doesn't even help us, the people. More and more, the homeless population is increasing all over this country and all over this world. But yet, we live in supposedly to be the land of the free. America's supposed to be the land of the free, abundance. But yet, population of poverty constantly increases, not decreases. Very interesting. But again, is the political system that we, the people, believe somehow we're going to get different results by doing the same thing every 2 years, which is voting for people that often been in the same positions, that have made politics their lifetime career, that's been in office 30, 40, 50 years maybe. Again, can't expect a different result if we keep doing the same thing over and over again. I received cards from different candidates in the mail, and I'm gonna show it shortly, about saying, hey, vote for me, I'll do this for you. Vote for me, I'll do that for you. The same old narrative every time it's the election. You ever notice that? The only time you hear anything from the people that's elected into a position is around election time. You know, now they got all your information. They don't even ask permission for you. They just take your information however they get it. So as I was saying, can't expect a different result doing the same thing over and over again. The only time we hear from them is during election time. Get all these postcards in the mail, vote for me, do this, I'll promise to do this for you. Broken promises every time. That's how it works. It's funny how all of these radio ads, television ads, commercials for all of these candidates, all of these signs that you see as you drive, only when it's election time you see those things. How come we never ever get anything in the mail, or we never get any public announcement or commercials, even an alert on your phone, since everything nowadays is on your phone or on another smart device? You know, just about every day I've been getting some Amber Alert about somebody, child, or somebody has been kidnapped, or some vehicle has been stolen. Every day I get this type of alerts. But somehow, some way, The only alert you get is around election time. Go vote, go do this, go do that. Witchcraft of politics. They'll do anything to manipulate, intimidate, dominate, to get his subjects to do what they want to do. We never get any alerts when it's time for them to put a bill to get the public's input about putting a bill up to pass for the actual needs of the public. Why don't they ever have an open democracy as it should be, to where, hey, you are a representative, why don't you call a monthly meeting and say, hey, this is what we need to do, or what do you all think about this? Which way do you want me to vote on this issue? This is the issue. This is how it's going to affect you personally. This is how it's going to affect the community. This is how it's going to affect you short term. This is how it's going to affect you long term. Why don't we ever get anything like that? No alerts, no anything. Because if they truly had the interests of the people at heart, they would do that. But they don't. Some might argue and say, oh, well, sometimes, they have these town hall meetings. I've been to many town hall meetings. And at some times, I was even actively involved. But what you realize about these town hall meetings is that it is just a meeting that they have basically to let people come and basically air out their grievances. And that's about it. It's not a meeting that is going to ask the public to come together and devise a bill that's going to generally affect their community. Things like why doesn't enough money get into certain communities to help take that community out of a impoverished state, to bring more jobs into that community, to bring a better education system into those communities, to help prevent crime in those communities. Why don't you ever pass bills like that? Again, definition of insanity. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect change, that is crazy. And that's the problem with this system. We expect change, but the political system is the same. And that's the witchcraft of it. They just figure out how to stay in office. And even if you get somebody new in office, it's still the same process. So nothing ever really changes that much. Witchcraft of politics. Very interesting, huh? That's what happens, people. Been happening year after year after year. But hey, what they tell you? Yeah, vote for me. And when you listen to their campaigns, all they say is, I will do this. I will do that. It's never about for the people, but it's always about I. You can't do anything, politician, without the consent of the people. That's what the Constitution says. Should be about the consent of the people. Okay? But it's never been about the consent of the people. And most of the time, it's always about the agenda, the corporations that contribute millions of dollars to these campaigns. They're the ones that secretly write these bills that these Congress people put into either house to try to get a vote to pass for the benefit of those corporations, never for the benefit of the people. They pay millions of dollars to these campaigns. Again, witchcraft of politics. Not only that, there's also no term limits. Think about that. No term limits. And the greatest of it all is this, that the average household income in American society, and that's saying that's a two-person household that it takes to make income to support that household, is only on average about $75,000 per household. But the average net worth of each member of Congress averages about $2 million annually. So how is that going to ever be a fair representation of the average person you're elected to represent if your annual average net worth is $2 million compared to the annual average household income of the American public is only $75,000? Witchcraft of politics. The only way to destroy this witchcraft is for us, the public, to come together and completely overhaul this current system and create an entire new one. That's the only way. And put a whole lot of better rules and things in place. As I do a lot of in-depth analysis and research on many things, as I studied the civil rights movement, what's very interesting about the civil rights movement, that was the last major movement that influenced change for the entire country, for every person in America, and also influenced change in other nations. No person in particular that was one of the leaders in the civil rights movement was in a political position. None of them was a senator or member of the House. None of them was the president, vice president, judge, or anything like that. They were just regular, hard-working people that said enough is enough. We got to do something to change. And oh, did they influence change that forced the hand of the folks that was in government in those days to do the right thing. A lot of folks sacrificed their lives, a lot of debts, a lot of police brutality, a lot of things at the sacrifice of those people that stood firm against this evil political system. And none of them was a member of either House of Congress or part of the executive staff of the President of the United States, part of the cabinet, or anything like that. They were regular, everyday citizens. Think about that. That is the last major movement that influenced change in a big way. And it wasn't even by politicians. The people that the public elects to office, that's supposed to be doing the job and looking at the best interests for the public, don't even make the change. Think about that. Now, major corporation, hey, we need a pipeline to go through these lands. So, hey, congressperson, I done gave you $10 million for your campaign. Here's the bill that I need you to put in front of Congress, that I need to get this to get a vote in our favor so we can pass this pipeline through these lands, so we can make all this money. And if you do that, next time you run for election, I'm going to put another 10 million in your campaign fund. Ha. That's how it works. That's how it works, people. Wake up. This is the witchcraft of politics that has been deteriorating this entire nation and nations all over the world. But hey, somehow, some way, they have us believing that we live in a democracy. Well, a true democracy is this. It is a system of government that is governed by the people, for the people, not by one individual or individuals for the sake of corporations. No. And what's so even more ridiculous is that they have the nerve to say that a corporation is like a person. That's how they look at a corporation in a legal sense. Like a corporate entity is an actual human being. Witchcraft. In everything I'm speaking, you can go and do your homework and research for yourself. And if what I'm saying is totally not the truth, then I'll be the first to apologize. But I speak from a person that have research in depth on all these subjects. Witchcraft, politics. That's why it's no change. The early so-called founding men of this so-called new world known as America, early they wrote in, I believe, in the Declaration of Independence that it is the right of the people to change its form of government if the current form of government is not working for all of the people. When has the system of government ever worked for all of the people? Never. And it never will, because it's not governed by the people, for the people. Because if it was truly governed by the people, for the people, anytime there is a vote that needs to be had for a bill that needs to be passed on anything that would directly affect our daily lives or our livelihood or our communities, we the people would be able to vote on that very subject or on that very topic. You would have the power to vote. All we doing is passing along our vote to another human that is crooked and corrupt most of the time. And if they go into office for the first time and they're not crooked and corrupt when they get there, they generally become crooked and corrupt while they're there, and they leave, if they ever get out of that office, more crooked and corrupt than how they were. Simple facts. Witchcraft of politics. Obama, on his campaign slogan, said, "Change we can." Really? That sounds good, but that's what politicians do. They have sweet tongues, or as the scripture said, soothsayers. They smooth with their mouth. They make it sound good, so it sounds like it's sweet to your ears, but all the while, they crooking you. That's what they doing. If we want change for us, the people, we gonna have to do it ourselves, because these politicians is the same old, same old, same old. A political system of insanity. That's what it is. Witchcraft. So they benefit while you and I don't. That's basically what it comes down to. If you really study the American government budget and you start to pay attention to where all your tax dollars is going, you would be in disbelief. But again, they use the media, that form of witchcraft, to falsely inform you, because they realized a long time ago that most people will believe anything they hear or see on TV or hear on the radio or from any other medium without checking the source, without getting to the truth, or without even researching. So that's the power of the witchcraft. That's what they use to constantly manipulate, intimidate, dominate, and control its subjects, known as the American population of the public. There you have it. The witchcraft of politics. Wake up, people. The scripture says in Hosea 4:6, Isaiah 5:13, I believe, my people get destroyed. My people have gone into captivity because they have a lack or no knowledge. I'm here to bring you God's truth about the real things that goes on in life, and not the deception of those that are worshiping at the synagogue of Satan. And that's what these politicians are. They are Satan's children. Many of them are. And they worship that force, that spirit. Instead of doing the right thing for the people, they decide to do the right thing for themselves. Okay? Want you to believe Republican, Democrat. Two-party dictatorship, no democracy. Whoever has the most members in office dictates the policy for that time period. It's not a democracy. Never has been. It's a two-party dictatorship. Always been. So wake up, people. Witchcraft of politics. And always know, they rather vote in agreement with their party versus voting for what the right thing is to do. Witchcraft of politics. Okay. If y'all not tired of that system of political insanity, then we have no hope. Now, there's this respect for marriage bill they just passed in Congress. I may get a lot of flack from the LGBTQ community, which, you know, I really don't care. Somebody got to speak the real. And no one alive on this earth can ever tell me that God made man to be with another man and that God made a woman to be with another woman. Because if that has been the case, there wouldn't be male and female in just about every form of life on this earth, whether it's humans, animals, birds, sea life, and even plants have male and female. No man, I don't care how much science they come up with, will never, ever be able to reproduce and create a child. No man will never have a womb. I don't care how much sex change they have, will never be able to create a baby. And no woman will ever be able to create a baby without the seed that comes from a man. So, with that said, this country is going to complete damnation because we're not operating, as it said, one nation under God, because that is not godly and it's going to never be godly. No matter if you accept it or not, that is never going to be godly. Same-sex marriage is not godly and ain't never going to be godly. So that's my stand on that. Got no problem with no human. Whatever you do in your bedroom, that should be your personal business behind your doors. Now you want to bring what you do behind your doors into the public. That's your business. Shouldn't be publicized. Keep that to yourself. Should never be publicized. That's just like saying what me and my wife do. Hey, I want to go get a bill passed in Congress for what me and my wife do in our bedroom and the lifestyle we choose and what we do in our bedroom. Does that make sense? No. Never gonna be godly. Ever. One nation under God. Yep. They might be right. One nation under God. The God of this world is, I believe, what they mean by that in this day and age. And the God of this world is Satan. That's who many follow. That's the God they following. That's why all this behavior is sick, because of that force, that spirit that people are following, that want you to accept any and everything, whether it's right or wrong. They want you to accept any and everything. Nope. Witchcraft, politics, okay? Politics, all about manipulating, dominating, intimidating, and controlling its subjects to make its subjects do what they want them to do. Witchcraft of politics. That's what they use political power for. Not for the public, but for their self-righteous greed to keep on their corruption. Why don't none of these politicians ever go to jail most of the time? Think about that. I don't know how many of them have been caught doing crooked, corrupt stuff. As long as they're in office, they are protected. That's why they connive and do whatever they got to do to stay in office, because if anyone decides to investigate them, they're probably going to find so much garbage on them that they wouldn't know how to escape it. So guess what? They have diplomatic immunity, think about that, as long as they're in office, to keep up their corrupting ways and all their scheming as they do in the public. Wake up, people. Stop taking this garbage. Stand up. Stand up like they did in the civil rights movement. And then we can become one nation under the real, true creator God that created all of us for righteousness' sake, not for unrighteousness. That's my time today. I wish you peace, love, and blessings. And until next time, people, may God continue to bless you, protect you, and enlighten you, and open your ears and open your spiritual eyes so you can really see the truth about what's really going on. Until next time.